$3,100 in parts, one fake receipt, a felony charge. That is the exact price of a mistake that cost one man his entire future. You are watching Case File Karma. Today we break down the NAPA Refund King. We have the body cam footage, the transaction logs, and the exact moment a simple retail trick turned into a police interrogation. By the end of this video, you will see exactly how a few $100s in profit triggers a $1,000 a day legal nightmare. 42 minutes. That is how long the suspect spent inside the NAPA auto parts store before the manager called the police. He didn't walk in and grab a tool. He didn't try to sneak out with a battery. He walked in with a stack of printed papers. These weren't official store receipts. They were forged documents designed to look like high-value returns. One receipt claimed a return of $800 for a set of heavy-duty brake rotors. The problem is those rotors were never bought at this location. They weren't bought at any NAPA location in the state. The suspect played the part of a frustrated customer. He complained about a defective part. He used a fake name. He used a fake phone number. The employee at the counter was new. He didn't check the system properly. He saw the paper, saw the defective part, and processed the refund. The suspect walked out with $800 in cash. He thought he found a glitch in the system. He didn't realize the system was already recording his face in 4K resolution. But why stop at one store? $12,000, that is the total amount of fraudulent refunds this man attempted across 4 different districts in 3 weeks. He wasn't just guessing, he had a formula. He would find a store with a high volume of customers. He would target the youngest employee on the clock. He would bring in a part that looked expensive but was actually a cheap knockoff from an online marketplace. The comparison is staggering. A real NAPA professional starter kit costs hundreds. His knockoff cost $12 on a wholesale site. The profit margin was nearly 1,000%. He spent his mornings scouting locations. He spent his afternoons printing fake invoices on a home inkjet printer. He thought he was a ghost. But retail fraud leaves a digital trail that is impossible to erase. Every time he swiped a fake return, he left a timestamp. Every time he took cash, he left a signature on a fraudulent document. The stores began communicating. The managers started a group chat. They shared photos of the Refund King. He wasn't a ghost anymore. He was a target. The question is, why did he think he could keep doing this without getting caught? $2,400, that was the value of the final score he attempted. This time he walked into a store that had already been warned. The manager was standing right behind the counter. The suspect handed over a fake receipt for a high-end diagnostic scanner. The manager didn't even look at the paper. He looked at the security monitor. He saw the same man from the other 3 stores. He didn't call the police immediately. He wanted the evidence to be airtight. He let the suspect finish the transaction. He let the suspect take the cash. He waited until the man walked across the parking lot. That is when the body cam footage begins. 2 officers move in. The suspect is blindsided. He isn't running. He is holding a stack of cash. The officers don't ask for his ID first. They ask about the scanner. The suspect claims he bought it legitimately. The officer pulls out a tablet. He shows the suspect the footage from 3 other stores. The suspect's face changes. The confidence disappears. He is no longer the Refund King. He is a man in handcuffs, but the arrest was only the beginning of the financial collapse. $15,000, that is the estimated cost of his initial legal defense. The state didn't charge him with a simple misdemeanor. Because the total amount exceeded a specific threshold, it became a felony theft charge. A misdemeanor is a fine and a slap on the wrist. A felony is a permanent record and potential prison time. The comparison is brutal. He tried to make $3,100 in a single afternoon. Now he is paying $5,000 a month in legal retainers just to avoid a cell. He is spending more on his lawyer than he ever stole from the stores. The court demanded restitution. This means he has to pay back every single cent he took, plus court costs. He had already spent the stolen money on a luxury lifestyle. He bought clothes, he went to dinners, he lived like a king on NAPA's dime. Now the government is garnishing his wages. Every paycheck he earns is sliced in half. He is working a full-time job just to pay back the money he stole 3 months ago. He is essentially working for free for the next this year, 60 seconds. That is all it took for the prosecutor to explain why this wasn't just a mistake. The suspect tried to claim he was confused about the return policy. The prosecutor played the audio from the body cam. The suspect was heard bragging to his friend on the phone about gaming the system. He called the employees easy marks. That recording turned a potential plea deal into a maximum sentence. The judge didn't see a confused customer. He saw a predator. The judge noted that the suspect didn't just steal money. He stole the trust of the employees. The new employee who processed the first refund was fired. The suspect didn't just cost the company money. He cost a young worker their job. The consequence wasn't just a fine. It was a total collapse of his social and professional standing. He is now a convicted felon. He cannot work in finance. He cannot work in government. He cannot even get certain types of housing. All for a few $1,000s in auto parts. $0. That is the amount of money he has left in his bank account today. He thought he found a shortcut to wealth. He thought retail fraud was a victimless crime, but the victim was a corporate entity with a massive legal budget and high-definition cameras in every corner. The gap between his perceived profit and the actual cost is a mountain of debt. He traded his freedom for a few fake receipts. He traded his reputation for the title of Refund King. The body cam footage serves as a permanent reminder of the exact moment his life changed. 1 minute he was walking to his car with cash. The next he was being pressed against the pavement. The cycle of fraud always ends the same way. The numbers eventually catch up, the evidence eventually piles up, and the king always falls, $1,200 a month. That is the average cost of a basic apartment in his area. Now, he has to pay that plus $800 in court-ordered restitution. He is living in his car, the same car he tried to upgrade using stolen funds. The irony is complete. He spent his time stealing parts for cars he can no longer afford to maintain. Every time he sees a NAPA sign, he doesn't see a business. He sees the place where he lost everything. This is the reality of the retail fraud game. The risk is a felony. The reward is temporary cash. The math never adds up in favor of the scammer. If you think the system is slow, remember that these stores don't call the police for $20, they wait. They collect a folder of evidence. They build a case that is impossible to fight in court. They let the scammer feel successful until the moment the handcuffs click shut. 30 days. That is how long it took for his family to find out about the charges. The shame was worse than the fine. He had lied about where his money was coming from. He told his parents he had a side hustle in flipping car parts. The side hustle was actually a felony crime spree. When the police arrived at his parents' house to serve the remaining papers, the facade crumbled. The comparison between the life he pretended to have and the life he actually lived was devastating. He went from a successful entrepreneur to a legal liability in the eyes of everyone he loved. The emotional cost is something that doesn't show up on a balance sheet. It is a debt that cannot be paid back with a payment plan. 10 years. That is the amount of time it will take for his record to be considered old enough for some employers to ignore. But for many, a felony theft charge is a lifetime brand. He will be screened out of every high-paying job application. He will be flagged in every background check. The Refund King is now a cautionary tale told to new employees at NAPA stores. His face is likely still in a training manual on how to spot a fraudulent return. He didn't just get caught. He became the textbook example how to fail. The concrete numbers are clear. The profit was $3,100. The cost was a lifetime of limitations. $50, that is the cost of a basic background check. That is all it takes for a future employer to see the Refund King in his history. He tried to cheat a system that is designed to track every penny. He forgot that in the modern world, cash is not anonymous. Every transaction is a data point. Every fake receipt is a piece of evidence. He thought he was smarter than the store manager. He thought he was faster than the police. He was wrong. The gap between his ego and the law was filled with body cam footage and bank statements. Now he spends his days filling out paperwork for a probation officer. He is no longer managing a business. He is managing a disaster. $0. That is the value of a fake receipt when the police are standing behind you. The Refund King learned a lesson that thousands of other scammers ignore. Retail fraud is not a victimless crime. It is a high-stakes gamble where the house always wins. The house has the cameras. The house has the lawyers. The house has the police on speed dial. The only thing the scammer has is a temporary rush of adrenaline and a permanent criminal record. The story of the NAPA Refund King is a map of a downward spiral. It starts with a small win and ends with a total loss.